So today I have a button replacement for the side / power button. I don't know if you can tell, but there's sort of an impact point right here, and it basically won't click properly. My guess is that it just needs a new actual button itself, which is kind of rare because the majority of the time it's something else. Like the actual clicking mechanism, the flex inside needs to be replaced. That might be the case here. So if you're going and ordering these buttons, I think a power, side flex isn't more than a few dollars. I would, if I was you, just have it on hand, because if your phone is in pieces, you'd rather have it on hand than not. So this is a board. I've already done some of the diagnostic. Essentially, I bought a phone, and no matter what, it would just keep, it would turn on and then immediately go into restore mode. I tried restoring it through DFU mode through on my Mac, and exactly the same thing keeps happening. So my best guess, at least the diagnostician in me, thinks that it restores and then it's trying to initiate because it keeps clicking down on this button or pressing down on this button, so it won't. Essentially, what I ended up trying, just to sort of rule out the issue, as you can see, some of my parts are not in the phone. I've taken out some plates, but I went and disconnected the power flex, which in this case is this little dude right here. Apparently I reconnected it at some point, but I disconnected it, and lo and behold, the phone turned on. So that leads me to believe that at least that is the root of the first problem. I don't know, there might be more, who knows, but this video is just about how to replace one of these buttons. But like I said, have one of the flexes on hand. I'm going to leave a link below for my vendor, which is Mobile Centrics, which is where I get either these buttons or the flex. Some of the tools that we're going to need, like I said, this is a board out repair. I want to say I have done, in the process of like housing replacements, I've swapped out this particular component like dozens, if not, certainly dozens of times. I can't say that I have ever gone through the process of just taking out a power button. So excuse me, because I might have to backtrack a couple of times. You may need to take out the battery. So if you're going to, battery adhesives are only like, $1 a piece, or you can use double-sided tape to put it back in. I'm going to do my best. Hopefully we can just remove the board and then remove the, and then remove just this flex. Like that would be awesome if we didn't have to also remove these other two, which I don't think we'll have to remove this one, but we might have to, but we're going to try not to. So excuse my rambling. But yeah, tools that we're going to need in no particular order are a Phillips, a Pentalobe, and a Y000. As you can see, I get mine from iFixit. They're amazing. You won't strip tri-wings anymore. There are some of these standoff screws, which are these little dudes right there, screw inside of a screw. So these are really helpful. You can use a flathead, but just if you do this semi-often, getting one of these bits makes all the difference in the world. Some sort of tweezers, possibly two, a nylon spudger, an opening tool. It's called an iSesamo. What else? A heat source is amazing, really helpful, and then also a magnetic mat of some sort. That way we don't misplace our screws, especially as this is a slightly complex repair. I apologize, but I've already, as you can see, removed some of the parts, and I don't feel like redoing my work just to do it over again. So I'm just going to proceed from here. Let me get all these tools out of the way. So, you make sure to use a lot of heat, maybe not a lot of heat, but just to remove the screen, you pull out the two pentalobes, and then you use this. Essentially, at least what I do is I open it up here, The bezel, the screens are a little bit more difficult to remove in the on the XR and the 11, just because of how high this or how thick this bezel is. So use heat. Honestly, it's not a bad idea to keep the phone on, because if you use too much heat, then you can damage the display, and it's kind of a I would say if you heat it up too much, you'll see this like black inky mark start to spread, and it'll dissipate, assuming that you don't just continue to blast it with heat. But yeah, use a little bit of heat. Work your way in with an opening tool, and honestly, just for the sake of this video, I will close it up, and then I'll show you pretty much what I do. Like I said, so I've already sort of loosen the adhesive so it doesn't have the same strength, but I start about right here, and then you don't want your opening tool in very far. So like, as you can see, this is roughly how far mine is in. Once you get around this corner, what I like to do is sort of twist, and it has the same, because there's two ways you need to get the screen off. One is to run your opening tool along the length. If you don't like that sort of cutting motion, then just sort of prying up is a great option. You then need to push the screen over and to the right. You create a gap up here, and then sort of wiggle out. There's our screen. So I've already removed this. I will now remove maybe not remove, but I'll remove this flex, so I can get to my battery. It is very important that you disconnect your battery before disconnecting your screen. You can now take our screen, set it aside. At this point, so I've already removed this standoff from right here. So I will come in, remove our other standoff, our third. There's a Phillips right here. This is another retaining plate, and you'll see your wireless charger, SIM, and this is, I guess, one of the two charging port flexes, 1, 2. So now that they're out of the lower side, we can come up here, fold that up and away. Take your board out. Getting this back in is gonna be kind of a pain. All right, so the actual power button, I just now am remembering this, is attached to the flash, and I'd have to remove some of this. And I basically have to gut, maybe not gut, but I have to take out all of these screws. I really don't feel like doing that, so I'm gonna see if I can get away with just removing this flex right here, which sort of ran along there. That way we have better access to the side button, which we can then sort of pivot out like that. Then you want to push in on the button, this little hanger. I don't bother reusing it. It's one of the my general rule with pretty much everything Apple is if Apple put it in, I put it, I reinstall it. With the exception of those, I do not see the point of them. I've done literally hundreds of these repairs without any issue. Now I will take the time to, so my actual side button flex, or the this little bracket right here, is straight. It's not curved or bowed in or whatever. The actual clicking mechanism right there, the flex, or this portion, seems fine. So I'm going to proceed along to this inner bracket right here. Tilts up at a 90-degree and comes out just like that. And then it's a matter of just pushing, and we have our button. I mean, honestly, there's a possibility that I could just try to bend this thing out, but these are relatively inexpensive. I don't really see the point in doing that. But I mean, if you absolutely needed to, I'm pretty sure you could. It might not click the same, but whatever, we're just going after functionality. You pop your button back in. This next part is the reinstall is going to be slightly more difficult. Obviously we want to hold our bracket out of the way, and then you want to push in on the button because there's sort of where these two little prongs on the bottom right here, there's sort of a slot that it sticks in, and if you're not pushing in on the power button, it has a tendency to, well, not slide in properly. So usually what I'll do is I won't tighten, I'll leave one, I'll sort of half screw it in, and then I'll half tighten it, and then I'll put in the other one, just because sometimes if you just tighten it all the way, sometimes it's harder to get the second one in. So usually I'll get in the first, get in the second. I can now test my whatever clickiness button, and it sounds and feels great. So now it's a matter of getting, this is kind of the pain next part, because this little piece has a tendency to come off. There are all of these flexes. I don't know why they made it this difficult, but this little dude fits in under the SIM tray. So essentially you sort of just need to wiggle, like fold back these flexes if you can. Then we have that. So now it's in that side. And now what we need to do is get past this little dude, fold back, do the same with these other flexes if you can. See exactly what I mean. This little guy came off. So you're gonna see me struggle here for a sec. Now you could be thinking to yourself, Spencer, do I really need this bracket? If you really wanna be technical, no, you don't need it, but it's there to prevent any of these flexes from just coming undone if you drop the phone or something like that. Okay, so now that that's in, I like to put in one standoff. I'm gonna have to take this out in just a sec, but it sort of keeps this in place. So then I'll come here and that's connected. If you're having a hard time connecting your power or whatever power flash, something that I'll use sometimes is a spacer. So I'll sort of like wedge this in and it pushes the flex back just enough to sort of align it. So I'll basically almost like do this. I know the lighting there is kind of crap right now. And then you just sort of push down and it helps it sort of drop in properly. That last one is by far the easiest. Okay, so then we can tighten this other standoff and then remove this one like I said we would. Now we can wireless, charging port, all right, there we go. Retaining plate. Phillips. Did I tighten this all the way? Yes. So on wider flexes like this, I try not to press down any dead center. I will press down usually left to right. You can also do left to right, whatever you prefer. So then we can come back with this little dude. You can sort of see that it's kind of squiggly around here. Essentially what we want is this little U right here, like this right here, is going to go on the inside, like right in here. And then this little silver ring is going to go on the outside immediately in front right here. I don't know if that's very good, but and that's in place. I install my standoff and my 2 Phillips. Okay, in this case, this flex doesn't want, there we go. Didn't want to sit in place properly. So that's good. Next we have the Face ID. So slide it in there. It is really important to get the left side positioned immediately under. It can sit about right here. And you'll notice how it looks. That is positioned improperly. You will crack your LCD when you go to reposition your screen. So you want to make sure that this sort of, I don't know, whatever you call it, the table, is sitting immediately below the bezel. I have learned this the hard way. It started with the XR. Sometimes, especially on screen replacements, this will come out of place just a little bit, like there. Then you go to reposition the screen. There's only a fraction of a millimeter difference. And then you go to position your screen. It's sitting up on the left side. And then you think, why is that there? And then you pinch down, you press down, and then you crack the display. So make sure that this is in the right place, or else you're gonna have a bad time. Make sure your flex is sitting just below that little metal piece. Connect our two flexes. Now for your rear camera, you'll notice I have some debris in here. If you go just drop your camera in without checking, you're eventually gonna go to take a picture and you're gonna think, why does it look this way? Make sure we don't have any fibers. Take our rear camera and our retaining bracket, 2 Phillips. All right, now for our screen. I mentioned this before, I'll mention it again. Especially on LCDs, when the battery is still connected, even if the phone is turned off, there's electricity running through the board. You can quite easily, unintentionally, blow the backlight fuse, or filter, I guess it would be. And then all of a sudden, basically your display won't light up. That's bad. So make sure that your battery is disconnected. Once they're connected, we can finally connect our battery. And it powers on. That's good news. So I'm going to test it out a little bit before I reinstall these screws and brackets. And this is what I was going for. So I'm going to call this a success. If you like the video, please make sure to give it a like. It helps out with the almighty YouTube algorithm. If you have any questions about what was done or things I might have glossed over, feel free to leave a comment below. Any advice? This is ideally we all want to learn from everyone, so if you have anything that you feel I might have left out, by all means, also leave a comment below. And if you want to see me submerge my iPhone 12 Pro in 6 feet of water, subscribe, because I'm going to be making a video about that soon. I recently did one a couple of days ago where I took my year-old phone and I was convinced that it was going to after a year, there's no way that the seal would properly work, the waterproof gasket, and I stuck it in a bucket for 30 minutes. I came out and, well, I was still working, and I'm still working today. So I'm going to see what it takes to water damage an iPhone 12 with a year-old water-resistant seal, and see if I can't water damage my phone. So subscribe, smash the like button. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.